Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Growing Otaku Council podcast. I'm Ace, that's McMillian, and today we're going to be continuing our Netflix anime review series with the Seven Deadly Sins Grudge of Edinburgh, Grudge of Edinburgh, Part 2. But of course, before we get into all that, if you would like to join me, my friend McMillian, as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as well as follow us on our social media so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. With that being said, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. All right, everybody, welcome back. How you doing today, McMillian?
I'm doing all right. Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. And all right, we're back for part 2 of this Seven Deadly Sins movie here. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why it was broken up into 2 parts. Let's just go ahead and start there. I don't understand why this movie was broken up into 2 parts. They could have easily just put out this 1 hour and a half movie and been done, or even just 2 hours, because I think it was about 50 minutes long at the most, at the latest. I think they could have just put out this 2-hour movie and been done and called it a day.
No, 2 hours, 2 hour 30 minutes. They really needed it, and they definitely could have just kept it there. I watched it and I was like, this did. My immediate thoughts of when I was done was like, well, this did not need to be 2 parts. I don't know why we did that. I was like, I was really trying to find a reason, because something I was telling Ace offline before we started was like, it's odd to me that we broke it up into 2 parts and then we gave the second part the better animation when it didn't. Well, granted, it probably needed it considering that it was the fight, the more like action heavy part, but still, wouldn't you want your whole thing to be kind of like, I don't know, like streamlined good?
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I definitely did. I do feel like the animation in the part 2 was a little bit better than the part 1. I really think what the issue was in part 1 is like the style of the background and environment didn't like match the characters enough, and I feel like that was still like an issue in this part 2, but it matched it a lot more than it did in part 1. I would say you could tell that the things were all aligning together. When last time looked like we got our CGI 3D cartoon characters in this almost CG realistic background. It's like, okay, wait a minute, what we're doing
here? yeah. Like, what was it? This felt to me. This just looked a lot more fluid, like compared to the first part. So I was like, I don't know why we decided A, to break it up, and then B, why is it such a difference in animation? Not that I guess I shouldn't be complaining, because like I said, it looked good, but still, like, wouldn't you want all of it to look this good? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, well, maybe this latter half part just theoretically looks better because this was more, I guess, the climax of it. So they just they want to make sure the climax looks good. Because especially like that, the ending part, the ending looks really well, and then like the giant abomination that they animated for the end, it didn't look that bad. It actually looked pretty decent.
I agree. I completely agree. But yeah, it's just interesting. But yeah. So if you have not seen the film, just do know, like, when you watch it, you'll most likely be thinking the same thing. Like, why did they break it up into 2 parts? Among like a couple other things, but like that was probably like my most glaring issue with this film. Is like, this did not. They could have just worked on it longer and then released it as a whole thing instead of breaking it up into 2 parts.
Well, that's the new trend now. Part 1s and part 2s and all these cores and stuff. That's the new trend. I guess it is. Excuse me. It's even starting to get to our movies now.
I mean, you guarantee some money on it, I guess. But I mean, like, as long as it makes sense, or like, I don't know, like, because for instance, I don't want to, like, the Spider-Verse films with like Across and then Beyond being like the second half. That felt like that needed to be a thing, at least to me. But yes, I know not everything is like that. But it sucks because, like, oh, this did well. Now we're gonna start doing that because it's like more money.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like, but those movies are like, they're standalone movies as well. It's kind of, except for like, we know the third one, like you said, Beyond is gonna be like a sequel. But well, they're all sequels, but it's connected
Like
a
I
lot
said, yeah.
more. Yeah, we're picking up right where we left off, type of sequel. But I don't know. Yeah, they shouldn't have done it. This could have just been one movie. But as far as plot, the rest of the plot for part 2 here, everybody, just really quickly, we just got to see the final fight. Oh boy, the 7 Deadly Sins pulled up, Meliodas and Bond, and who was that? Gotha was with them. All three of them, they pulled up to the castle. They saved the day, basically, essentially. But at the end,
well, I was gonna say, so it's interesting because they showed up like after not after the full fight was done, but after like a significant amount. Like Tristan had just beat the demon wizard dude. I don't know what that thing was. Beat him, and then Lancelot took out Death Pierce, and they were knocked out for a good portion. I was like, oh well, I was like, well, at least they let the actual characters of the movie handle it, because the thing is, with most media that focuses on like the next generation, I felt like what makes it bad is a lot of times they rely too much on the old characters because they know that you already care about the old characters. But I'm like, stop calling it the next, basically stop. If you're gonna do that, then that's not the next.
He looking at you, Boruto.
Yeah, I mean, I said next generation, and I felt like that definitely like.
That's when I knew you was talking about it. I was like,
But I mean, that Boruto's not the only.
The only thing that does that type of situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I feel you.
So I was so when they did show up, technically the threat was done, but they got to flex basically.
Yeah, and they got to flex.
It was a fun little scene. It was nice.
Yeah. So basically, I guess let me get back to this real quick. So basically, after the 7 Deadly Sins, the fathers through. After the dads pull up and save the day, Death Pierce tries to run away, and of course, the youngest chase after him. Where they fight the final battle, and we get to see our boy Tristan actually use his devil powers for the first time. Not demon, same thing, I guess. Demon powers for the first time, truly, and it was nice. I will say it was the best animated part of the movie when he unleashed his demon powers and he went for the final blow and all that stuff. And then the little small fight between him and what's his name, Lancelot. Right after that. Yes. Yeah, so, and then we also got the reveal of Lancelot having magic, which should be self-explanatory because he's part fairy, but well, we know he had magic arrows, but even in he can use it without being. Let me rephrase that. He can use his magic without being in fairy form. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, which is interesting because I was wondering in my head, like, because this is Bond's kid. Bond was basically like a super martial artist, so I was wondering like what his whole kit would be besides, I guess, like the fairy abilities. And then we got to see, okay, it just basically means like same, but now magic. Instead of I can rip people's hearts out,
Bond, but with magic.
Magic now, yeah. I mean, not saying that Bond technically didn't have some. I guess
he had abilities. Yeah, he had an abilities, and he was technically immortal as well. So I mean,
but I was like,
he had magic,
but like his stuff always seemed different. I guess.
Yeah, it was.
To your point, like it never seemed so. Lancelot. I like how they did Lancelot. It was like similar, but with a twist. I also like how they do Tristan too, because the demon inside thing is becoming a huge cliche right now. I feel like within anime, hell, not even anime. I think they're starting to do that.
So, I mean, are you saying they do it differently?
Well, not necessarily differently, but they get it out the way faster. Like the whole thing with like Lancelot.
The reveal of it, I guess.
I mean, that and also how people around him reacted, like Lancelot being like, "Yeah, you beat my ass. I wasn't done though. Like, let's get this shit on." Like, I was like, okay.
You thought just because you grew wings, you was gonna beat my ass?
I was like, okay. I was like, cool.
You thought that little power boost was gonna save you?
Because like basically I was saying like they don't necessarily do like how it happens different, but like the reaction of people around him isn't like a monster, a demon. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, you got Nice. You got
cool.
inner
You got demon
ability.
powers. Run them hands.
Run me my fade. Like
it doesn't change anything at all.
Ain't
Run this fade.
Ain't nobody scared of your ass. Like what?
Yeah, no, I feel you. Okay, well, let me ask you this. So, the movie we got it's not new, but we don't see it all the time. We got a full, 3D animated type of movie for this one.
Mm-hmm.
If they went for this style for the show, would you watch it?
For the
Knights of the Apocalypse, which I don't think it is, because they shown trailers of it and it don't look like it was really like 3D like. But if they would want to integrate some of this type of style into the show, because every now and then they do switch up the animation style every now and then, would you mind it?
So if they did it in the way I think like Attack on Titan does it, where like things that would take ridiculously amount of time to animate, like if they did the CGI like that, and like for instance like giant demons or celestials or what have you, shit that would like take months and months to animate and draw and would slow down the process. I don't think I'd have that big of an issue with it, and especially if they did it how Attack on Titan does it, because I know some people have a problem with it, but I think it's fine. Like it's not too jarring to me. It still looks good. Now if the whole show was like how the film is, I don't know, because we're talking about the second half, maybe I'd be cool with it. If the first half, no, that looked too clunky.
Yeah, I agree. If we're talking about we're getting the quality of the second half of that movie, then yes, because it was nice, but yeah,
that first half was way too clunky. The second half was fluid. It looked good. I wouldn't mind a series like that, because like for instance, I liked I've watched full CGI anime. There's this anime on Netflix that me and you need to probably talk about, called Ajin. I don't know how many people know it, but it's CGI and it's still really well done.
Pretty decent though. It's done well.
Yeah. So I mean, if it was like that, probably not. But I would still prefer. I mean, if
it was like Ajin, you wouldn't watch it.
No. I'm saying if it's like that, I wouldn't have a problem.
Oh, okay.
Like if it was like if it's fully CGI, but it's still fluid, it still looks good.
If it's done well, as long as it's done well, you don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. But like if they get lazy with it, then no, because it's already kind of. I already have a preference for the regular 2D animated kind of like.
Yeah, and then on top of that, well, I guess the reason I asked that was because, for the regular anime, the regular 7-day anime, towards the end of the series, we started getting less and less quality animation, if you will, during, I guess, certain parts of the, show, especially certain height parts of the show. Like you can definitely tell the quality went down, and I just think I would hate to see that same type of quality continue for the new series.
Yeah, but that happened. I mean, now there were, as much as I shit on that, the last parts of it, there were extenuating circumstances for that, because they split that. The team got let go, or they switched studios mid thing, and it was a whole
fiasco.
But it was a whole fiasco. I was like, I would hope that would not get repeated. That just means 7 Deadly Sins is cursed, and they should probably not touch it anymore. But like, if it just so happens that we get the CGI part, but it's done well, fine. But I would prefer, hopefully, like that's still 2D style, because that's just what I prefer. Yeah. And again, just we pray that what happened to 7 Deadly Sins at the end does not happen to the following series or any subsequent series, like that.
I agree. Yeah, no, I echo your sentiments. I would not mind a fully CGI animated series. Once again, I don't believe it is, because they have already revealed the trailers and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it to see if there is any CGI in that trailer. But yeah, I wouldn't mind as long as it's done well. And I know I like seeing other, animation style type of projects as well. Not just we're all doing the same 2D style animation all the time. I like seeing new stuff. So I don't mind as long as it's done well.
Yeah, no, I agree. But back to the film itself, before we, I guess, move on to the talk of Knights of the Apocalypse, because that we had to bring that up, because this is the connector technically. So one thing also about the film, besides I think like Tristan and Lancelot's whole thing, I like that Elizabeth actually did something. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but after they healed her, she did technically defeat the mage. I think technically,
Yeah.
like, because they basically got there because they were able to get there, was able to trace the magic, heal Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth cured herself. And then the mage tried to actually attack her herself, which I thought was wild considering her son. Not only are these like two kids that just beat your ass here, but the legends known as the Seven Deadly
I
Sins.
think he was just going for a final attempt, really, honestly. He was like, if I'm gonna die, might as well take you with me type of thing.
I'm just saying I was like, this bold as hell, my guy. Like, goddamn, you don't want to see if they like arrest you or anything for okay. But she actually, in my opinion, that's probably the most I've seen. I remember Elizabeth doing. I don't even think she did that in the show. So,
I mean, she did stuff like that in the show before now.
But I'm saying, was it active? Like, did she have control? I don't remember.
Yes.
If she
like
got control of her
using her goddess powers, yes.
Okay. All right, because that was something I always wondered. I was like, you know, are you going to remain a damsel? At some point, are you going to start throwing in? Like, the moment we found out,
a damsel. Just because she got goddess powers don't mean she still ain't. I mean, well, she's strong, but she ain't weak. She doesn't have battle, skills. Let's put it like that. Mm-hmm. She has powers, but yes, she doesn't have battle skills. So when it comes down to it, somebody run down on her. She can't really defend herself.
She's like, I can heal, but that's about it. I mean, I guess. That was always something that in the original show. I was like, man, I just know you could be raw if you had the proper utilization.
Yeah, and now we get to see the, like you said, the fruits of that, and actually we get to see more of the the goddess abilities, because with our main characters being from the demon clan, we got to see the demon side of things. So now, and of course we're gonna get that, but I think honestly we're probably gonna get. At one point, there's going to probably be like a hybrid form he has where he mixes his angels and his demon forms together and stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to come at one point.
Yeah, I was like, if you were to ask me what I'm very excited for, it's that, because I was like, there's got to be at some point. You can't.
Yeah, at some point, yeah.
You can't not have that. The mix, the fusion of the two, right?
He's basically becoming I guess you could say a perfect being in a sense. I didn't want to say perfect, but I guess I'll use that word right now. I'll use it. But yeah, no, it's cool though.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the ending of the movie, this is where we got all the lore. We got to see our boy King Arthur pull up, which we know he had to pull up to begin with, because like you said, the person was using the staff of chaos. Where else did he get that from?
Mm-hmm.
But we actually finally got to see him. Now I'm actually shocked to see that he hasn't changed in appearance. Now that could be because they probably just waiting for like the anime to show off like his new style, if he character style, if he has one. Character design, there we go. Words, use them. Character design. But they left him right now in the movie. He still had his same old character design.
Yeah, which I'm just interested, like what I guess his whole thing will be, because now if he's going to be moving into the role as it's obviously he's moving into the role as like I guess the main the main villain. Antagonist. Yeah. Yes. For this future group that we're going to get here within the next series. And so I'm just wondering, like, what was he trying to do some last Hail Mary attempt at bringing down the 7 deadly sins or something? Because I was just like, I don't know.
You're thinking too deep. He's the king of chaos.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. That's completely, completely fair. That's completely fair.
I mean, might with him being King Arthur, him being in love with Merlin and all that, he might have some sort of plan, grand goal and plan or whatnot. But overall, I think he's just trying to, just spread chaos. He's the king of chaos.
No, I mean, I didn't. You're absolutely right. I did not think in that aspect that he could just be fucking around, because he is the king of chaos. It was
and I would agree, like you said, the 7 deadly sins probably will play a part in him stopping them. So of course at one point he probably say, hey, I got to deal with these guys. Yeah. But I don't know. But I mean, for the most part, I just think he's just going around just causing chaos.
I mean, that's again completely fair. in my head, I'm always like trying to think. There's got to be a deeper thing behind here, but sometimes it could just the simplest answer
Yeah,
is
like I said,
the
I wouldn't put it past him to have some type of grander, quote unquote grander plan, but in the back end or whatever. But overall, I just think he's, like I said, he's just here to destroy and mess up anything he can. Cause why not?
True. I just wanted to know, like, maybe he did this. Another thing I thought, again, this is just a theory, but I was wondering, since this is King Arthur, is he potentially trying to figure out a way to create like forces that could rival the seven deadly sins? Like, so is this like a test trial of like
Maybe something like that? Yeah,
because
and then we don't know what. Well, we're pretty sure Merlin's been sticking with him, but we don't know like how, if Merlin's been teaching him magic or anything, or if Merlin's trying to persuade him to do certain things. Like, we don't know. We knew Merlin was trying to get him to become this Chaos King, but we don't really know what grand plan that Merlin had for that. Like, was she trying to do that to achieve her own type of goals, or did she get tricked into releasing the King of Chaos or whatever? Like, we really don't know what's going on with her either.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes, because I was about to say, the whole thing with, I don't know if they're going to play off the legend of King Arthur, like the actual story.
That's
but
okay.
King Arthur, but if they do, he has his own knights. And I don't know if the next
I get what you're saying. He was doing these type of experiments to gather his quote unquote knights to take on the seven deadly sins.
Seven deadly sins, because he said, I'm pretty sure with the whole thing, if Merlin and him are working together, Merlin, obviously they both know that probably the only force within this world that could stop them is them. Yeah, so I know there's a time skip or something within like the next series, because I know it's technically not even about.
You're talking about from the movies to the next series?
Yeah, because the show, because the main character of the Knights of the Apocalypse isn't even Tristan; it's a different character. So
that's interesting.
So I'm assuming, could this have been just like a, hey, just so you know, Arthur, within like the years that have passed or whatever, is trying to figure out how to make a force strong enough that could rival the seven deadly sins, which would be his Knights of the Round.
Yeah, I mean, no, it would make sense, because like you mentioned earlier, if I do want to truly just take over the world and things of that nature, the only people that can really stop me are them. So at some point, I'm gonna have to deal with them one way or another.
Yeah, so because I was about to say the Knights of, I don't know if the Knights of Leonis are still a thing or not. I mean,
they might pull a Baruto type situation where they try and seal him off or something.
Who, Arthur?
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, Merlin knows all their strengths and weaknesses, but does she really think that he could possibly beat the whole group, by himself? Unless he probably did, go gather his knights, then maybe. But, by himself, does she really think he can take on everybody?
Probably not. And I mean, and not only that, but we haven't even seen like Excalibur in this series yet, unless I'm mistaken. I could be misremembering. I don't think Excalibur has popped up. And I just feel like if you're gonna have Merlin and Arthur, that sword is somewhere. Goddamn it! So it's interesting. So I'm wondering, like, could this movie have served the point of like, hey, even though when the seven deadly sins are gone, we have their kids or potentially other people that'll continue like to protect the world and potentially fight Arthur and Merlin, but like, what is the main villain force that comes after? Because Arthur's not going to be doing it by himself, because obviously he knows the threat of the seven deadly sins. So this probably sets up like just to keep in mind, like, he's doing things that could potentially lead to him having a stronger force than the seven deadly sins.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. When you put it like that, it does make sense. Like, yeah, he's going around also testing out different things to, build strength and grow strength to take over to one day defeat the seven deadly sins. And then it even makes more sense now, especially since you mentioned that there's a time skip between the movie and the actual manga series. So even it makes more sense now. So he's definitely he's taking his time building up his strength. And hopefully, letting the seven deadly sins weaken throughout the years.
Yeah.
And then, go and fight them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like, as much as I would say, I didn't necessarily dislike the film, But as much as like I complain about it being 2 parts, it did expand, I think, or
Well,
like add to the story.
theoretically, they're immortal, right? Meliodas and Elizabeth.
Do they have that? I thought they ended.
As long as they don't get killed, they're immortal, right?
I think that is correct. I think as long as they don't get it, as long as they don't die again, I believe they are immortal. And I say again, oh no, Meliodas did die. For a second, I was about to say, I don't think he died, but he did.
Yeah, no, Meliodas died.
Yeah. So, so I think as long as they don't die again, him and his Meliodas and Elizabeth are immortal. Now, the rest of the 7 deadly sins, I don't know. I think
Gother, he might be immortal too because he's a doll.
Because he's a doll. So
Bond, we know he's an immortal. We know he's an immortal. Well, no, I can't remember if he gave up his immortality at the end or not.
And that still bothers me because I was like, should he not have died on the spot when he did?
I can't remember. I believe he did. If I recall the end of the series correctly, I believe he did give up his immortality. But regardless. Did. And then Diana we know the giants and the fairies, they're not immortal. So yeah.
Yeah, but they live. They live a
long
long time. So
yeah.
Only God knows.
And Arthur's only just a human, so I would still think he has, like a regular lifespan, unless him becoming the king of chaos somehow increased that. He become, I guess, almost like primordial in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, and also if Merlin is still with him, Merlin's magic could probably extend his life force or whatever. So, he seems to be like they're like, hey, this is the new evil force in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I said all that to say because if he wanted to try playing the waiting game, well, he really couldn't because half of them are freaking immortal, and half of them, though, have the other half that aren't immortal, they live a long time anyway.
The only one the only way you can technically wait out is Bond if that'll catch up. So, like, I mean, that's all you got. So, I mean, I could see why he. It just basically goes to show that, like, I think what they're betting on is Arthur gonna be like the villain for like this next series is coming. Yeah, and that he's already working on assembling his big bad group, basically.
No, it would make sense. And then, yeah, like I said, it gives that, that group, that core, enemy group, and not just that one enemy, you will, for the show, for like, hey, this is the enemy group, this is their boss, this is who we gotta be.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the 7 deadly, like, the way 7 deadly sins went, they always had technically a group to fight. Because originally, like, it started with them assembling and then taking out the corrupted Knights of Leonis. After they beat that boss, they were like, oh, wait, he was possessed by a demon. The demon got a body. Where he going? Oh, there's more demons. All right.
Yeah, there's more demons. Yeah. And now we got to fight the whole demon groups. Oh, wait, there's a demon king. Oh, now we got to fight him. Yeah, no, 100%. No, I feel you.
Mm-hmm. I guess with all that,
okay, so you know what? Let's do this. Now that we've seen the whole movie, part 1 and part 2, we're gonna rate these both together, 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. Grudge of Edinburgh as a whole, what you giving it? As a whole, now that you've seen part 1 and part 2,
a 7.
Smooth 7.
Smooth 7. Yeah, it had its issues, and I think more so the issues for me came from how it was presented or done than necessarily story. Because I enjoyed the little tale. It was fun. It was a fun movie. It was a fun adventure, fun movie. I think that if everything was done, that the quality of everything was as good as that was in the second half, and we didn't just separate it because we could, it would be, it'd be a solid 7. And I since you said all together, I don't want to like penalize it for being separate, so I'm gonna say a 7.
Yeah, but no, all together we'll look at it as a collective.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I did, it probably wouldn't be that much lower either. Maybe a 6 or
okay.
5.
I mean, I'm right around the same ballpark. Give like a 6.5, 7 as well. For me, I think it wasn't enough action in it. especially for it to be a Seven Deadly Sins movie. We got there towards the end for the climax, and I appreciate that for them. For that. But towards the beginning of the half, it was way too much dialogue, just way too much. Why are we?
Yeah, they.
Why are we showing them? Why are we talking for so long?
Yeah, they padded that first half a lot. There was a lot, like I said before, I didn't get a chance to say it, but another reason why I don't feel like it should have been two parts. There was a lot of things they could have made shorter in the first half. Like Tristan, all that traveling Tristan did could have been cut a bit. Some of the the conversations that Tristan Lancelot was having with some of the captured kids could have also been shortened. It did not have to be as long. It was just a lot of stuff in there that I just felt like this could have, knowing now what the second part gave me, I'm just like, yeah, they could have trimmed that a bit. They didn't have to give as much time to some of that as they did. So
yeah, we could have did this, because essentially, like, the way the trailers were, it made it seem like the battle was just on a way bigger of a grander scale than the movie actually is.
Yeah,
you feel me? Because, like, the trailers, they showing all these people getting shipped off and everything. All this massive army going God knows where goes in the middle of the desert and stuff like that. It just felt grand and big. But then you get to the movie, it's basically just a little scuffle, really.
Yeah, and when they like technically had to face the army in the beginning of the part two, they got out of it because I don't remember that girl who's obsessed with Bond's name is, but when she showed up, I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get an interesting fight, like with them working with this this Knight of Leonis, and it just was like no skip. I was like, okay, well,
well, there's that.
I was like, well, they set this big ass army up, and we're not gonna do nothing with it until, or at least I thought, until we got to
the end. I mean, well, yeah, the army. Well, we might as well say the army did nothing because it got obliterated.
Yeah, the army was there to serve as like, look how powerful the Seven Deadly Sins still are. Death Pierce, you're fucked. Like you goofed, my guy.
Which I don't know why you thought they was just gonna fall off all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Like, he really thought he was just chilling. Like, he was just gonna enact his evil plan and just be cooling.
He did. He watched that whole war pan out and was like, yeah, these are the niggas I want to fuck with.
My thing is, even so, say he successfully ended up killing Elizabeth, right? Say he did successfully do that. What are your plans? What are your plans for afterwards?
He not smart. We've already established it. He not smart, because I think his plan was to do that bit, what he did to Tristan and Lancelot, that big whatever the fuck, that amalgamation of like demon, that thing he became. I assume that was his plan. My only issue with that is you done pissed off the person in the number one person you're not supposed to piss off. They called him the sin of rage, the dragon sin of rage, of wrath. Excuse me. You just think that was cute?
That's what I'm saying. You think you're just gonna kill his wife and everything's just gonna be all fine and dandy afterward? Oh, I won the war now. It's over with. Like, what? Like, no, sir. You're gonna have to. First of all, you really done fucked up now, because now you definitely got to see about him, because you done killed this man's wife. What are you gonna do to prepare this? You had no way to stop this man in the event that you somehow did end up killing. Well, first of all, you had no way to stop him in general. But in an event that you did somehow kill Elizabeth, you definitely had no way of stopping this man.
None at all. Not at all.
I just don't understand what the plan was.
It was, I don't know. At this point, that's why I'm like, Arthur did this just to test some shit that he had to.
No, I believe it. No, 100%. He out there messing around, playing around, causing havoc because he can. And like you said, just testing stuff out at the same time. Because I think he got to be testing stuff out as well, because Lancelot mentioned that this was like the third or fourth staff, like chaos staff.
Yeah,
chaos staff that he found.
Yeah,
so
I do remember that.
He's giving these motherfuckers out like candy.
I do remember him saying that he has encountered this type of object before. Yep. So definitely, but overall, fun film.
Well, all right, yeah, it's a fun film. Yeah, nothing else much to say. Please let us know down below in the comments if you guys enjoyed this film. Have you seen it? Did you check out it? And if you have yet not, somehow you did end up all the way here at the end of this part 2 discussion, but you did not hear our part 1 discussion. Please go check it out. I guess I should have linked that at the very beginning of the video. But yes, we also did a part 1 discussion. So if you have not seen the part 2 discussion, and not our part 1 discussion, go check that out as well.
Yeah, this is just
probably wouldn't want to see
it
it now that you done watched this part 2, but who knows?
I don't know. It was, in my opinion, that was entertaining because I just, I think I ranted, but definitely
we
go
did
check it
rant
out.
for a little bit in that episode as well. But with all that being said, my friend, you can go ahead and take us on out of here.
Yep. As always, guys, appreciate you for watching / listening. If you want to keep up to date on all things about the council, please follow us on our social media. That is at gurrencouncil and at gurrencouncil. At gurrencouncil on Twitter and at gurrencouncil on everything else. If you would be so kind, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, as well as let us know your thoughts on the Grudge of Edinburgh, I guess as a whole, or part 2. As you know, once you watch this, and if part 2 got you excited for the Knights of the Apocalypse series, if you're reading it, you probably were already excited for it. But like, if you are just a watcher, please, I'm interested to see how you react. Does this get you hyped for the thing?
I'm semi excited. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I was about to say I thought this was fun, and therefore I hope that Knights of the Apocalypse does much better and than its predecessor, and as well as like builds on what this movie has kind of done. Like I'm interested to see where we go from here.
I agree.
If you're an audio only listener, let us know your thoughts on the episode. Please follow and share the podcast, review it. Really helps us out in the end. But with all that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Keep enjoying anime. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.